We're going to start off by picking up where we left off last time on our website. I'm going to zoom back out to show all. And I'm going to want to create the over, down, and hit frames for each of my buttons. So I need to go back over to Fireworks to create those. So I'm going to open up my previous rectangle template that I saved. Generally, when you mouse over something, it highlights. So I'm going to select my rectangle. Find the brightness contrast filter. If there's not one, you can go to plus, adjust color, and add a brightness contrast. Generally, you can raise both of those just a little bit to make it look like your button is highlighted, and click OK. You could do the same to the text if you want, but it doesn't matter. Once that finishes, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to switch back. Since that was on about, I'm going to do that one first. So on over, I'm going to insert a blank keyframe. I'm going to paste that. And I'm going to put that at coordinate 0, 0. It should line up exactly the same place as my up button. So now when my mouse goes over it, the button is going to be highlighted. I'm going to go into my home button, insert a blank keyframe there. Switch back to Fireworks, go to my text tool, change my text to say home, highlight everything, copy it, switch back, paste it, change the coordinates to 0, 0, and I should have the over for both of those. If all of your buttons are the same shape, continue doing the same thing. If you had a different shape, go ahead and open up your other template or templates. And here it's important to take note of exactly what you did. So I made mine 50 and 38. So I'm going to want this one to be the same thing. You don't have to use the same numbers as me, but you should use the same numbers on each effect if you're using the same colors. If each of your buttons is a different color, they only need to be approximately the same. It's okay if they're not exactly the same. This one's done. I'm going to copy it, switch back, go into that button, blank keyframe, paste, put that at 0, 0. Get ready for the next one with a blank keyframe. Type in that name, make sure it is centered. Put that at 0, 0. Go back, go to my last one, insert a blank keyframe, go back to Fireworks, type in my last name, copy both objects, switch back, paste it, make sure it's selected, and put it at 0, 0. Then I'm going to test this to see if it works. Now when I mouse over each button, it highlights. So now we just need to do the same thing for down. So I'm going to do my rectangle button first, and I'm just going to undo until it's back to its normal appearance. Remember, undo is Control Z. You might have to do it a few times to get back to the original. For the brightness and contrast, take the brightness down just a little bit to make it a little bit darker. Now I'm actually going to take the bevel and change it from raised to inset. So inset will be as if it's going down instead of being raised up. So we'll simulate the appearance of the button being pressed in. So then with my selection tool, I'm going to copy that. Insert a blank keyframe. Paste my image, put it in its place. Go to the home button, insert a blank keyframe there. Use text to make my home button. Make sure that is also centered. Copy my text. Paste that. Put it in its location. Now I just need to do the same thing for the other three. I lowered my brightness to -35, so I'm going to match that. So first I'm going to step back to where it's at its original, using Control-Z. And go to my brightness and go to the same number, -35. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my inner bevel, change it to inset. Align that, copy it, insert a blank keyframe on down, paste it, put it at 0, 0. Insert another blank keyframe on my next button. Type in the name using the text tool. Center that. Paste that at 0, 0. Back. Go to the last one. Insert my blank keyframe. Change my text. Make sure it's centered. Copy the two objects. Paste them. Put them at 0, 0. Go back to scene 1. Test to make sure everything looks okay. So normally my buttons look like this. When I hover over it, it highlights. Whenever I click on it, it presses down. They all appear to be working. And assuming that all of my pixels that were part of my shape that is not a rectangle were transparent, the hit detection should work just fine. If for some reason your mouse is not detecting your button, or it detects it where the button actually doesn't exist, you'll need to go to the hit frame, insert a blank keyframe, and match it with just a plain shape. So if I were to draw my hit shape here and run it, it would not detect my button here, but over where I had drawn the hit box. So if you have an abnormal shape that's not being detected correctly, you can draw an outline of that shape so that it is detected correctly. Since mine was working fine, I'm actually going to remove that frame so that it does not mess up. Then I'm going to save and then publish what I've done so far. And I'll switch over to Dreamweaver. Since nothing needs to be updated on this page, I'm just going to upload my Animate folder. Then I'll check to see if it works okay on the site. Everything appears to be working fine for mine. If yours does not update right away, remember you can press Control and refresh to force it to reload the assets, including the extra images you added to your buttons.